How do you teach your family to respect you? My family treated me like I was invisible for most of my life. My older brother Kyle would interrupt me mid-sentence at dinner. My sister Amanda would roll her eyes whenever I spoke. My mom would ask for my opinion, then immediately ask Kyle for his real opinion like mine didn't count. My dad would forget I was in the room entirely. I was 28 years old, still living at home because rent in the city was impossible, and they treated me like I was 12. They made decisions about my life without asking me. They borrowed my car without permission. They ate my groceries. They walked into my room without knocking. I'd tried talking to them about it hundreds of times, but nothing ever changed. 2 months ago, something inside me finally snapped. I don't remember exactly what happened that night. I remember sitting at dinner and Kyle interrupting me again while I was talking about my job interview. I remember feeling this surge of anger stronger than anything I'd felt before. Then nothing. Just this weird blank space where hours should have been. I woke up in my bed at 3 a.m., fully dressed, with bruised knuckles and a sore throat like I'd been yelling. The next morning at breakfast, everything was different. Kyle didn't interrupt me once. He barely looked at me, actually, keeping his eyes on his plate. Amanda asked if I wanted the last piece of bacon, her voice shaking slightly. Mom asked about my day and actually listened to my answer. Dad told Kyle to be quiet when he started to speak while I was talking. I should have been happy. This was what I'd wanted for years, but something felt wrong. They weren't respecting me. They were scared of me. I asked what happened the night before, trying to sound casual. The table went completely silent. Mom glanced at Dad with this expression I couldn't read. Kyle pushed his chair back slightly like he was preparing to run. Finally, Dad cleared his throat and said we'd had a family discussion and everyone agreed to be more considerate going forward. But his hands were shaking when he said it. Over the next few weeks, the fear got worse. Amanda started locking her bedroom door at night. I'd hear the click whenever I walked past. Kyle moved out suddenly, claiming he'd found an apartment, but I saw him stuffing clothes into garbage bags at midnight like he was fleeing. Mom stopped making eye contact with me entirely. Dad started working late, coming home after I'd gone to bed. I kept having these gaps in time. I'd be watching TV and suddenly it was 3 hours later. I'd be in the kitchen and find myself in the garage with no memory of walking there. My throat was sore constantly, like I'd been screaming, but I had no memory of raising my voice. My knuckles were always bruised. The walls in my room had new holes that I didn't remember making. I found a lock on the outside of my bedroom door that hadn't been there before. My clothes smelled like sweat and dirt. Amanda whispered to Mom about installing cameras, and Mom said they couldn't afford to make me angry by doing that. Make me angry? I'd never been violent. I'd never even yelled at them. Had I? I started recording myself on my phone at night, leaving it running while I slept. The first few nights showed nothing, just me sleeping normally. But on the 4th night, something happened. The video showed me sitting up at 2 a.m. My eyes were open but wrong somehow, unfocused and empty. I watched myself get out of bed and walk to the door. Then the video cut out. The battery was full when I checked, so it hadn't died. Something had stopped the recording. I set up my old laptop to record the next night, hiding it behind books where I wouldn't see it if I was sleepwalking. This morning, I checked the footage, and what I saw made my hands go numb. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below. I stare at my laptop screen, unable to breathe, unable to move. The video shows me sitting in bed at 2:17 a.m., just like with the phone recording. But this time, the footage doesn't cut out. Instead, I watch as something changes. My body is still technically mine, but the person who sits up isn't me. My posture straightens, shoulders squaring in a way I never hold myself. The vacant expression transforms into something hard and focused. My eyes narrow, scanning the room methodically before landing directly on the laptop camera. For a terrifying moment, I think this other version of me has spotted the recording device. But instead, my mouth curls into a smile I've never seen in the mirror. Predatory, confident. I watch myself stand up and walk to my bedroom door, turning the knob slowly to minimize noise. The laptop's microphone picks up the sound of my footsteps in the hallway. There's a pause, then the distinct sound of Amanda's door being tested locked. My other self laughs, a low, threatening sound that makes my current self's skin crawl. Hide all you want, my voice whispers on the recording, but it's different, deeper, more controlled. I know what you did. The footage shows me moving down the hallway toward the kitchen. The camera angle can't follow, but I can hear what happens next. Drawers opening, the clink of silverware, my parents' bedroom door creaking open. Wake up, my voice commands, both of you, now. My mother's startled cry pierces through the recording. Please, we were sleeping. Like I was sleeping when you decided to lock my door from the outside. The rage in my voice is terrifying. Get up, kitchen, now. The sounds of shuffling, my father's voice murmuring something inaudible, pleading, move. My scream is so loud, the laptop microphone distorts. Footsteps moving toward the kitchen. I can't see anything happening, but I can hear everything. The scrape of chairs being pulled out. My mother crying softly. Please, my father says, voice clearer now. You're having an episode, just like before. You're not yourself. I am myself. Something crashes a plate or glass shattering against the wall. I'm the only one who protects us, while you all treat us like garbage. Us? Who is us? More breaking dishes. My mother's sobbing gets louder. You think locking the door will keep me away? You think I don't know what you're planning? My voice drops to a threatening whisper. I see everything. I know everything. I remember what you did when we were 16. That was different, my father says, trying to sound calm but failing. You were hurting yourself. We were trying to help. Liar. Another crash. Heavier this time. The table being flipped. You locked us away. You drugged us. You told everyone we were crazy. Amanda's voice enters the chaos. Stop it! You're scaring Mom! Oh, look who decided to join us. My voice turns mocking. Little Princess Amanda, who gets everything she wants while we get nothing. Did you like the present I left in your room last night? The scissors under your pillow? Just a reminder that locks don't keep me out. You're sick, Amanda says, her voice shaking. You need help. I'm not sick. The sound of something else breaking. I'm the only sane one here. I'm the only sane one here. My father's voice, desperate now. Kyle, call Dr. Mercer. Kyle's gone. My voice sings in a disturbing, playful tone. He ran away because he knows what happens to people who disrespect us. Should I show you what happens? Should I show you right now? Heavy footsteps, more crying, the sound of someone being shoved against a wall. Please, my mother begs. We love you. We just want to help. Stop lying. My voice roars, then suddenly shifts to an eerie calm. You know what? I think it's time for a family family meeting, a real one, where I do the talking and you all finally listen. What follows is 5 solid minutes of me screaming threats at my family. Detailed, horrific threats about what I'll do if they ever lock my door again, if they ever interrupt me, if they ever treat us like we're invisible. My voice keeps shifting between cold, controlled rage and manic, desperate shouting. Then suddenly, mid-sentence, there's a strange gurgling sound. The audio captures my footsteps stumbling, something heavy hitting the floor. Quick, before it wears off, my father whispers urgently. The sound of dragging, my mother's voice saying, "Careful with the head. They're moving me." I can hear my own body being dragged down the hallway, back to my bedroom. The door closes, and there's the distinct sound of the external lock clicking into place. The video continues for another hour, showing my empty bedroom, until finally, I stumble back in, clearly disoriented, collapsing onto my bed without even taking off my shoes. The timestamp shows 3:19 a.m., the exact time I remember waking up confused with a sore throat. I close the laptop, hands trembling uncontrollably. The person in that video, that wasn't me, but it was my body, my voice. What's happening to me? What did I do to my family? And most terrifyingly, what did my father mean by "before it wears off"? What did they give me? I touch my bruised knuckles, understanding now where the injuries came from, the holes in my walls, the fear in my family's eyes. The lock on my bedroom door isn't to keep others out, it's to keep me in. I sit at the kitchen table, laptop open in front of me, my finger hovering over the play button. The morning light streams through the windows, making everything seem falsely cheerful. Mom is at the stove, flipping pancakes like this is any normal Sunday. Dad reads the newspaper, occasionally glancing up at me with wary eyes. Amanda hasn't come down yet. I need everyone to see something, I announce, my voice steadier than I feel. Dad lowers his paper slowly. What is it? Amanda! I call up the stairs. Family meeting. Now. Mom turns off the stove, wiping her hands on her apron. Honey, maybe this isn't the best time. It's exactly the right time, I say, cutting her off. I deserve to know what's happening to me. Amanda appears in the doorway, arms crossed defensively across her chest. She's wearing long sleeves, despite the warm weather. Her eyes dart between me and the laptop. Sit down, I tell her. All of you. To my surprise, they comply without argument. I turn the laptop so they can all see the screen and press play. The video begins me in bed. The transformation, the threats, the violence. I watch their faces more than the screen, having already memorized every horrifying second. Mom's hand flies to her mouth. Dad's face hardens into something unreadable. Amanda just stares, unsurprised. When it ends, silence fills the kitchen. I close the laptop. How long? I ask. How long has this been happening? My parents exchange a look I can't interpret. Dad clears his throat. Since you were 16, he finally says. The first episode happened after your high school debate competition. You lost, and that night. You weren't yourself, Mom finishes, her voice barely audible. You destroyed your bedroom, broke your trophies, said terrible things. Why didn't you get me help? My voice cracks. Why didn't you tell me? We did get you help, Dad says defensively. We took you to Dr. Mercer. You were on medication for almost a year, but I don't remember any of this. That was the point, Mom whispers. The medication was supposed to suppress the other one, and it worked. For years. You were stable, normal. We thought it was over, until 2 months ago, I say, piecing it together. When I snapped at dinner, Amanda rolls up her sleeve suddenly, revealing a jagged scar running from her wrist halfway up her forearm. This wasn't from a bike accident when I was 14, she says flatly. This was from you, or whatever lives inside you. My stomach lurches. I did that to you. You held a kitchen knife to my throat first, she says, eyes cold. Then when Dad pulled you off me, you slashed my arm instead. That's why Kyle left, Dad adds. 2 months ago, after your episode at dinner, you cornered him in the garage, told him in detail how you were going to kill him in his sleep if he ever interrupted you again. The bruised knuckles, the sore throat, the fear in their eyes. It all makes terrible sense now. Why the lock on my door? I ask, though I already know. To keep everyone safe when you're having an episode, Mom says, including you. You've tried to hurt yourself before. And the memory gaps? Why don't I remember any of this? Dad sighs heavily. Dr. Mercer explained it as dissociative identity disorder. You're not present when the episodes happen. That's why we never told you. The doctor said knowing might trigger more episodes. So you've been drugging me? I remember my father's words on the video. Quick, before it wears off. Only during episodes, Mom says quickly. Dr. Mercer prescribed an emergency sedative. We keep it in the kitchen for when you change. Amanda hasn't taken her eyes off me. You really don't remember any of it? The things you've said? The things you've done? I shake my head, tears welling up. I swear I don't. You call yourself the protector, she says. You talk about yourself as us's and we. You say you're the real one and the person we know, she gestures at me, is just a shell you created to survive. My hands start shaking. Survive what? Another look passes between my parents, heavy with something I can't identify. We have an appointment with Dr. Mercer tomorrow, Dad says, avoiding my question. We called her after the night you recorded. She wants to see you immediately. I want answers now, I insist, slamming my hand on the table. Everyone flinches, and I immediately regret the outburst. I'm sorry, I need to understand. Mom reaches across the table, stopping just short of touching my hand. There's something else you should know, she says quietly. The episodes are getting more frequent and more violent. The protector is getting stronger, Amanda adds. That's what Dr. Mercer told us last time. I look around at my family, the fear in their eyes, the tension in their bodies, all directed at me, or rather, at what lives inside me. I'm not dangerous, I whisper. But even as I say it, I remember the bruised knuckles, the broken dishes, the threats captured on video. Not you, Dad says, his voice gentler than I've heard in years. The other one, the protector. But why? I ask, desperate to understand. What does it think it's protecting me from? The silence that follows is deafening. Amanda gets up abruptly and leaves the room. Mom stares down at her hands. Dad finally meets my eyes. That's what we need to find out, he says, before someone really gets hurt. I nod slowly, a cold realization settling over me. The lock isn't just to keep me in, it's to keep the protector contained. And based on what I've seen, it's not working anymore. I sit in the waiting room of Dr. Mercer's office, my leg bouncing uncontrollably. The receptionist keeps glancing up at me, probably wondering if I'm about to transform into the monster from my family's stories right here in the beige carpeted waiting area. Dad insisted on driving me, hovering awkwardly by the door until I convinced him I wasn't going to bolt. Now he's sitting 3 chairs chairs away, pretending to read a golf magazine while watching me from the corner of his eye. "The doctor will see you now," the receptionist finally announces, and I nearly jump out of my skin. Dad moves to stand, but I hold up my hand. "Alone," I say firmly. "I need to do this alone." He hesitates, fear flickering across his face. "Are you sure that's—" "I'm not a child," I say, the words coming out sharper than intended. I soften my tone. "Please, Dad, I need answers without filtering." He sinks back into his chair, nodding reluctantly. "I'll be right here." Dr. Mercer's office is nothing like I expected. Instead of the sterile clinical space I imagined, it's warm and comfortable, with soft lighting and plants in every corner. The woman herself is in her 50s, with silver-streaked hair pulled back in a loose bun and kind eyes behind tortoiseshell glasses. "It's good to see you again," she says, gesturing to an armchair across from her. "Though I understand you don't remember our previous sessions." "No," I admit, lowering myself into the chair. "Apparently, there's a lot I don't remember." She studies me for a moment. "Your parents called me after your recent episode. They mentioned you discovered the recording?" "Yes." My hands twist in my lap. "I saw someone else using my body, threatening my family." Dr. Mercer nods, her expression neutral. "What you're describing is consistent with dissociative identity disorder, which is what I diagnosed you with when you were 16. My parents said you put me on medication. I recommended a treatment plan," she corrects gently. "Your parents were selective about which parts they implemented. Number 1, something cold settles in my stomach." "What do you mean?" Dr. Mercer sighs, removing her glasses. "Your parents opted for medication to suppress the alter personality, but declined the therapy component. I strongly advised against this approach, but they were adamant that you never know about your condition." "Why would they do that?" My voice cracks. "They believe knowing would trigger more episodes. They wanted to, and C, contain the problem rather than address it." She puts her glasses back on. "I disagreed, but patient confidentiality prevented me from reaching out to you directly once you turned 18. So I've had this other personality for at least 12 years, and no one told me." The betrayal cuts deep. "The alter emerged as a protective mechanism," Dr. Mercer explains. "From what I gathered in our limited sessions when you were a teenager, this personality calls itself the Protector and believes its purpose is to defend you from harm." "Protect me from what? My family?" Dr. Mercer's expression shifts subtly. "That's what we need to explore. Would you be willing to try something that might help us communicate with the Protector?" My heart pounds. "You want to bring it out on purpose? In a controlled environment, yes. I believe it's essential for your healing to understand why this personality exists." I swallow hard, my mouth suddenly dry. Will I remember afterward? That's the goal. With my guidance, we can work toward co-consciousness, where you remain aware even when the alter is present. The thought terrifies me, but I nod. "What do I do?" Dr. Mercer guides me through a relaxation exercise, her voice gentle but firm. As my breathing slows, she begins asking questions about my childhood, about family dynamics, about moments when I felt unsafe or unheard. "Think back to when you were 16, she says. "There was an incident after a debate competition. Do you remember?" I shake my head, but something shifts inside me, a pressure building behind my eyes, a tightness in my chest. "You lost the competition," she continues. "How did your parents react?" "Disappointed," I managed to say, though my voice sounds strange to my ears. "Dad said I embarrassed the family. Mom wouldn't look at me." "And how did that make you feel?" "Worthless," I whisper, but the word catches in my throat. My vision blurs, and suddenly I'm watching myself from somewhere else, like I'm floating above my own body. "They always made us feel worthless," my voice says, but it's not me speaking. The posture changes, shoulders pulling back, head tilting slightly. "Unless we were perfect, unless we were silent, unless we disappeared." Dr. Mercer leans forward. "Hello, I'm Dr. Mercer. May I ask who I'm speaking with?" "You know who I am," my mouth says with a cold smile. "We've met before. I'm the one who keeps us safe, the one who remembers everything they want to forget. The Protector," Dr. Mercer acknowledges. "Thank you for coming forward today. Can you tell me what you're protecting against?" A harsh laugh escapes my throat. "What aren't I protecting against? The father who locked us in the basement for getting B's on report cards? The mother who pretended not to hear us crying? The siblings who got to be normal while we got to be the family disappointment?" My consciousness reels at these revelations. The basement? My father never but a memory surfaces, fragmented and hazy. Darkness, the smell of damp concrete, pounding on a door that wouldn't open. They wanted the perfect child. The Protector continues through my mouth. When we couldn't be that, they made sure no one would hear us, made sure we knew our place. The doctor figured it out when we were 16, and they shut that down real quick. Couldn't have anyone knowing what happened in the perfect family's basement, could we? Dr. Mercer's face remains professional, but I see the sadness in her eyes. "Your parents denied you treatment? They took the pills to keep me quiet," the Protector says bitterly. "But they made sure the truth stayed buried. Told everyone we were just acting out for attention. Made us think we were crazy. But I remembered. I protected. And now they're afraid because I'm getting stronger." "What do you want?" Dr. Mercer asks. The Protector leans forward, and I feel my face contort into an expression I've never made. "I want them to admit what they did. I want them to stop pretending. I want us to be free." Suddenly, the pressure in my head becomes unbearable. I gasp, feeling myself slam back into my body. The room spins, and I grip the arms of the chair. What just happened?" I pant, though part of me already knows. "Doctor," Mercer hands me a glass of water. "You experienced co-consciousness with your alter personality. You were able to hear and observe while the Protector spoke. That's actually tremendous progress. Those things it said about my parents, about the basement, are they true?" "The Protector believes they are," she says carefully. "Alter personalities often hold traumatic memories that the primary personality cannot face. Our work now is to determine what really happened and help you integrate these fragmented parts of yourself." I stare at my trembling hands. My family has been drugging me to keep this hidden. They've been locking me in my room. They've been lying to me my entire life. "We don't know the full story yet," Dr. Mercer cautions. "But yes, it appears there has been significant trauma and subsequent concealment." "What do I do now?" I whisper. "I can't go back there." Dr. Mercer reaches for her notepad. "I'm going to refer you to a residential treatment program specializing in dissociative disorders. You need a safe environment away from potential triggers while we we work through this. My family won't let me. You're 28, she interrupts gently. They cannot legally prevent you from seeking treatment. And based on what we've uncovered today, separation may be necessary for your healing process. As Dr. Mercer writes the referral, I sit in stunned silence, piecing together fragments of memories that suddenly make sense. The inexplicable fear I feel in small, dark spaces, the way my parents tense whenever I raise my voice, the lock on my bedroom door that appeared long before any episodes. The protector wasn't born from nothing. It was born from something they've been hiding all along. And for the first time, I'm not afraid of what's inside me. I'm afraid of what's been surrounding me all these years. It's been 3 months since I moved into this apartment. Small but functional, with a window that faces east, so the morning light streams in and wakes me naturally. No locks on the outside of my door. No family hovering anxiously, watching for signs that I'm about to change. Just me, learning who I really am, both parts of me. Morning check-in, says Maya, my roommate, poking her head into my room. Scale of 1 to 10? Solid 7, I reply, stretching. No nightmares? No gaps. Maya nods approvingly. She's a psychiatric nursing student who answered my roommate wanted ad when I realized I couldn't afford a place alone on my part-time salary. Dr. Mercer connected us, thinking Maya's training would make her less likely to freak out if she witnessed an episode. So far, she's only seen one minor incident and handled it better than my family ever did. Therapy at 4, right? She asks, already dressed for her hospital rotation. Yeah, family session today. I try to keep the anxiety from my voice, but Maya picks up on it immediately. You don't have to go if you're not ready, she reminds me gently. I know, but Dr. Mercer says avoidance just makes the triggers stronger. After Maya leaves, I sit at my small desk and open my journal. Dr. Mercer suggested I document everything. The episodes, the triggers, the fragments of memories that surface unexpectedly. It helps me recognize patterns, identify warning signs before they escalate. Today is the 3rd family therapy session. Mom cried through the first 2. Dad barely spoke. Amanda asked questions but kept her distance. Kyle is coming today for the first time, feeling nervous but stable. The protector has been quiet since yesterday's individual session. I've learned to write to the protector directly in these journals, to acknowledge its existence, its purpose. Sometimes I wake up to find responses written in a handwriting slightly different from mine, sharper, more decisive strokes. I'm always watching, reads one such message from last week. I'll stay quiet as long as they don't hurt us again. Progress, Dr. Mercer called it. Communication instead of dissociation. The waiting room of Dr. Mercer's office feels different now that I'm not a prisoner being escorted by my fearful father. I arrive early, deliberately choosing the chair farthest from the door. Control over small things. That's what Dr. Mercer calls it. Reclaiming agency in spaces that once felt threatening. My parents arrive first, Mom clutching her purse like a shield. Dad nods at me but doesn't approach. Amanda follows a minute later, choosing a seat where she can see both me and the exit. Old habits. When Kyle walks in, I almost don't recognize him. He's lost weight, his usually neat hair grown out and messy. Our eyes meet, and for a moment I see genuine fear flash across his face before he masters it. Hey, he says cautiously, stopping several feet away. Hey, I reply. Thanks for coming, he shrugs. An awkward gesture that reminds me of when we were kids. Dr. Mercer said it was important. Dr. Mercer appears in the doorway, observing our family tableau with professional detachment. Shall we begin? Her office has been rearranged for family sessions. Chairs in a loose circle, no one trapped against a wall. Everyone with clear access to the door. Safety measures that speak volumes about how far we still have to go. I'd like to start by acknowledging the courage it takes for all of you to be here. Dr. Mercer begins once we're seated. Especially you, Kyle. I understand this is your first time joining us. Kyle shifts uncomfortably. Yeah, well, I needed some time. That's understandable, Dr. Mercer says. Would you like to share what brought you here today? Kyle glances at me, then down at his hands. I got a new job. Better pay. There's an opening in the same company I thought might be good for. He gestures vaguely in my direction, not quite saying my name. That's very thoughtful, Dr. Mercer says. How does everyone feel about that? Is that safe? Amanda blurts out. I mean, for coworkers and everyone? The familiar sting of being treated like a threat rises in my chest, but I breathe through it like Dr. Mercer taught me. I haven't had an episode in 6 weeks, I say evenly. And when I feel one coming, I have techniques to manage it now. It's not just about techniques, Dad says, breaking his usual silence. It's about responsibility. If something happened at work, something like what happened in our basement for years, the words escape before I can stop them, sharper than I intended. The room goes deathly quiet. Mom's face drains of color. We've discussed this in our individual sessions, Dr. Mercer says calmly. The trauma that contributed to the dissociation. We never meant, Mom begins, but I cut her off. You locked me in the basement for getting B's. I say, my voice trembling but controlled. You told me it was to help me focus, but it was punishment. You left me there for hours, sometimes overnight. Dad's jaw tightens. You were difficult, defiant. We did what we thought was necessary. I finished for him. I know, you've said that before, but it wasn't discipline, Dad. It was abuse. Kyle looks between us, confusion evident. Wait, what? When did this happen? You were away at soccer camp most summers, Amanda says quietly, and later college. You didn't see a lot of things. Is that why Kyle gestures at me? The other you exists? Because of the basement? Dr. Mercer leans forward. Dissociative identities typically form as protection against trauma that's too overwhelming for a child to process. The protector, as we've come to call this alter personality, emerged to shield your sibling from psychological harm. And then you all just, what? Pretended it wasn't happening? Kyle looks genuinely horrified. Even after the diagnosis? We thought the medication would fix it, Mom whispers. We thought if we didn't talk about it, it would go away. Like you thought I would go away if you locked me up enough? I ask, and feel the familiar pressure building behind my eyes. The warning sign. I reach for the grounding techniques, Dr. Mercer taught me. 5 things I can see, 4 I can touch, 3 I can hear. I need a minute, I say, standing carefully. Everyone tenses, but Dr. Mercer nods encouragingly. Take your time. Use the techniques we practiced. I walk to the window, focusing on my breathing. In the reflection of the glass, I can see my family watching me with various degrees of apprehension. This used to make me angry, their fear, their caution. Now I understand it's not just about me. It's about their guilt, their shame at what they allowed to happen. When I return to my seat, I feel steadier. The protector isn't going to disappear, I tell them. It's part of me. What needs to change is how we interact with each other. We're trying, Dad says, and for once, I believe him. 2 weeks later, I start my new job at the marketing firm where Kyle works. He keeps his distance at first, introducing me to coworkers with a forced casualness that doesn't quite hide his nervousness. But by the second week, he's stopping by my desk with coffee, asking questions about projects, treating me almost like a normal sibling. How's the apartment? He asks one day as we ride the elevator down after work. Good. Quiet. Maya's a good roommate. And the episodes? I appreciate that he asks directly now instead of dancing around it. Manageable. I can feel them coming most of the time. Sometimes I need to step away, use my techniques, but they're less frequent. Kyle nods, studying the elevator buttons. Amanda said you're coming to Sunday dinner this week, just for an hour. Dr. Mercer thinks short, structured visits are a good next step. The elevator doors open, and Kyle hesitates before stepping out. I'll be there too, if you need, I don't know, backup or whatever. It's awkward and imperfect, but it's something. A bridge being rebuilt, carefully, one plank at a time. At home that night, I write in my journal about the conversation with Kyle, about the upcoming dinner, about my fears and hopes. When I wake the next morning, I find a response below my entry. We'll be careful at dinner. I don't trust them yet, but I trust you. We're getting stronger together. I trace my finger over the words, written in that sharper handwriting, not a monster to be feared or locked away. A part of me that formed from pain but is learning as I am how to exist in a world that isn't just about survival. It's not a perfect resolution. My family still flinches sometimes when I speak too loudly. I still have nightmares about locks and dark spaces. But for the first time in my life, I'm not hiding. Not from my family, not from myself. And in that honesty, fragile as it is, I found something I never had before. Respect, not just from others, but for myself, for all parts of who I am.